Hi there, and welcome to part 9 of Addiction 101 for Family Members. I'm Tom Harrison, author of The Complete Family Guide to Addiction. In the last few segments, we've been talking about strategies to get a loved one into treatment. But what we haven't talked about is what is treatment? What is this seemingly magical thing that addicts go to that hopefully gets them better? I think it's very little understood among the public what treatment actually is. And the first thing I think it's important to understand is that addiction is in some ways like the common cold, in that we we have no cure for the common cold. We can't cure it, but the body has a way of fighting it off itself. And so when we treat the common cold, what we really do is we medicate the symptoms to make them less onerous. And then we do things that help the body's natural defenses. We rest, we take a lot of fluids, we do things that help the body to fight off the disease itself. And addiction, in some ways, is very similar because there's no cure. We can't cure it. There's no pill, there's no vaccine. But if the addict stops using, the brain itself will repair, will heal, will get better on its own as long as they stop using. Now, this is a long process. It's probably at least 3 months before the brain really largely goes back to normal, and it's probably at least a year before the brain is really fully going back to normal. That's unfortunate. It takes a long time. There's really no way to hurry it up. But when we talk about treatment, what we're really doing is we're trying to give the addict strategies and techniques to not use long enough that the brain can heal itself. Now, two words that come up all the time when we talk about treatment are detox and rehab. Many people confuse those two, but they're separate things. Detox and rehab are very important, but they are not in themselves treatments. Okay? They are just places. They're places where treatments are administered. It's comparable to a hospital, right? If you don't get better just because you walk in the lobby of a hospital. It's just a place where treatments can be intensively administered. Detox is a short-term facility designed for people who are first getting off substances in order for them to do that safely. Detox typically only lasts maybe a few days to maybe a couple of weeks. It's quick, it's short term. But when the addict is very first getting off the substances, it can be a very, very hard time. In popular culture, it's famous about how hard it is to go through heroin withdrawal, and it is. And a detox facility can make that a little bit easier. There are two other substances where if you stop cold turkey, there really is a medical danger, and they are alcohol and benzodiazepines. And if someone stops cold turkey, it's a really, really good idea to do that in a medically controlled environment because there are serious health risks involved. Now, once a person has been through detox, the next step often is rehab. Rehab, again, it's not a treatment, it's just a place. It is possible to go through all the treatments that you would get in rehab without going to a rehab. But it's very, very helpful for a lot of people to be in a place where all that's happening around them and they can focus on that and not have a lot of distractions. There are two kinds of rehabs, inpatient and outpatient. Inpatient is a residential facility where people go and live, typically for maybe anywhere from a week or two to several months. Outpatient is a day program, so you go there during the day and then go home at night. There are conflicting studies on how effective inpatient is versus outpatient. Insurance companies love to cite the statistics that show that outpatient is just as good because obviously it's less expensive. And it can be just as good for some people, but not for everyone. In terms of rehab, there are many, many kinds of rehabs, and there is no sort of central authority for rehabs that controls how they're done, what's involved, and so forth. So it's buyer beware. Um, there are many rehabs have great advertising programs and beautiful brochures, and they're on television, but that doesn't mean they're necessarily the best ones. It just means that they have a lot of public relations efforts going on. In the book, Complete Family Guide to Addiction, you'll find a whole lot more information about different kinds of rehabs, how to determine what kind of rehab is best for your loved one, and how to pay for it because they can be very expensive. So that's a lot more information than we can go into in a short video. Um, but that hopefully is a good introduction to the basic concepts of detox and rehab. So what we haven't talked about are what are the kinds of treatment that you get in a rehab or that you could get even if you don't go to rehab. There are three basic kinds. And in our next video, we'll break down those types of treatment. I think it's very important. So I hope you'll join me for that. Thank you.